Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Ojy Okpe is here with us to speak on her exclusive interview with supermodel Oluchi Onweagba-Orlandi and fashion designer May Atafo at the just concluded Arise Fashion Week. Hi, Ojy.
Dun, how are you?
I'm great.
Hi,
Dr.
Ojy.
Abati.
My name is Ojy.
Hi, hi. So you know, Arise Fashion Week was huge, and obviously I spoke with supermodel Oluchi Onweagba-Orlandi, who happens to be my best friend. She obviously is one of our pioneers in the African fashion. She talked about the evolution of the African fashion industry and the need for Africans to look within our creativity. Let's take a look.
Discovered by a model scout when she was barely 17 years old, Oluchi Onweagba-Orlandi quickly became one of the most sought-after African models in the late 90s, changing the face of the fashion industry. Raised in the suburbs of Lagos with her two brothers and sisters, Oluchi left the shores of Nigeria after winning the Face of Africa competition in 1998. From the moment she burst into the fashion scene, Oluchi caught the attention of fashion enthusiasts and made history as the first Nigerian model to be on the cover of Vogue Italia and to strut the runway for the prestigious Victoria's Secret fashion show. Her alluring and sophisticated look, Oluchi became the muse for high-end fashion designers like John Galliano, Oscar de la Renta, Louis Vuitton, and shot ad campaigns for Gianfranco Ferrer. Breaking the barrier for African models, Oluchi also made history as the first Nigerian poster girl for Sports Illustrated magazine.
My first couple of trips with SI, I went to Thailand and then Colombia, and then we went to Memphis, Tennessee. And this year we're in St. John. That's what this job is all about. You go to places you've never been before.
Today, Oluchi is an international fashion icon, an entrepreneur, and a businesswoman. She continues to pioneer the African fashion world. At the just concluded Arise Fashion Week, I sat down with the African supermodel to talk about the evolution of the African fashion industry, her venture into the lingerie business, and what it truly means to change the African narrative.
The fashion industry in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, you know, we've been on this for over 10 to 15 years. We have been working on our narrative for the last 15 years.
Absolutely. Our chairman, Nduka Obayigbena, started the whole thing, I believe, in 2001 or about 11 years ago. I remember when he took all of the designers from Nigeria and even, I believe, even from South Africa to New York Fashion Week. And it was fantastic, but I think that starting from then till now, I don't know if there's been a major shift in the fashion industry in terms of
what do you mean by shift?
In terms of growth.
Well, if I have to just go back a few steps back to your sentences, first of all, Nigerian fashion industry, they've been, like I said earlier, they've been consistent over the last few years, and there has been, maybe minimum growth, but they've been doing the work. A few years ago.
Doing the work in terms of what?
A few years ago, we can count the number of designers that we have, for instance. Today we have, just in Nigeria alone, if I have to say, maybe 30 designers, and they have been putting in the hours. These designers, they do the work. And I acknowledge their efforts as growth. Yes. And I don't believe that the designers, the creative talent in Nigeria need some sort of global acknowledgement to feel like there's a major shift. As a typical Nigerian supermodel, my thought process to every single Nigerian in the fashion industry is, you are doing an excellent job. You don't need global acknowledgement to feel like you belong.
So beyond global acknowledgement, I know that we're creative, we've put in the work. I mean, you've seen some of the designers that have come out of Arise Fashion Week that we've just had, completely brilliant. How do we go beyond that?
Okay, do you know that there's a difference between being a creative person and being a business person? Yes. Most of our designers are creative, but they're not necessarily a business person. So they need to probably hire the right people that are well skilled enough to do the business side of their creativity. I am not a creative person. I could tell you that for a fact. I am more a business person. So when I went into intimate apparel, which is the lingerie business, I started off from the business side of you. So what I sense from a lot of our designers, using Nigeria for instance as an example, is they're more like creative people and they're not business people. So they design their collection, they do the fashion show, and then they don't know how to go about with a proper retail structure that can help their creativity grow. So I think that's where, you know, we as a fashion industry, we're lacking behind. My other point that I need to mention, yesterday I was with Leah Kebede. Okay. It's her first time in Nigeria.
And she's also a fashion designer.
She has a fashion brand called Lemlem. And she's obviously from Ethiopia. And they have excellent manufacturing, you know, what do you want to call it? Industry. Actual proper manufacturers in Ethiopia. And we were having a conversation. She actually made it known to me that in as much as Lemlem, you know, fabric is from Ethiopia, they do most of their manufacturing in Morocco.
Okay.
So as a continent, you know, we're sort of far apart geographically, and we don't have access to the proper information that can get us ahead. You know, yesterday I just realized that Morocco actually have excellent manufacturers. So I don't have to go to China. I don't have to have a supplier from the US. I can actually just go to my next door neighbor African country and manufacture my lingerie. I didn't know that before.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you're saying it's lack of knowledge.
No, I think it's more access to the appropriate information that can help the industry grow continentally. Everything we need, everything we want, it's on this continent. We just need a proper channel to get us ahead.
You know, a lot of things happen in Nigeria. I mean, let's say with the creative industry, yes. You know, be it Nollywood, be it the music industry, or fashion. And obviously we need investors. And I know that some of the reasons why companies in America, fashion companies in America have succeeded is because they have investors, yes. You know, or even venture capital investors to, you know, boost their industry. I know that that's one thing we're lacking here in Nigeria. And so what my question is just me and you, how can we facilitate that? What do we have to do to make sure that we get the right investors to believe in our story? Because I know that this conversation has been going on for years now.
You know what I sort of sense that is going around is more talking than actually doing the actual proper work.
I agree with you.
There's no investment company, there's no equity company that we just think, oh, your creativity is fabulous, and decide to put thousands and millions of dollars in your business.
And why not?
You need to show them the numbers. You need to show them that you've done the work, you have proof, you know, to say this is what we do in revenues. There's no bank, no investment company in their right sense of mind that will say to you, take $5 million for your wonderful business because we believe in your creativity. So it goes back again to what we said earlier, that in as much as you're a creative person, you need to have the right skilled business people to help your business grow. Bankers need to see the numbers. They're all about the numbers. They don't necessarily care. So for LULU, for instance, in 3 years, I can show you this is what we do on a monthly basis, and this is our yearly revenues. And our numbers are not even strong to the point where we can go knock on investment bankers and say, we have proof to show to you. We're not even there yet, even though we're doing extremely well in Nigeria.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, as a businesswoman, you've ventured into this
Intimate apparel.
And I know that you've always said you believe in a collaborative effort. And your apparel line, your intimate apparel line, has different companies. I know Hanes is part of it, also Medium Form
Latex,
and all that.
Bra.
Oluchi, you are very informed. And the only reason you are able to do this is because you're very informed. How can we get this knowledge that you have so that we can be like a LULU brand, or women can, you know, try to emulate what you've done?
Well, I mean, you know, for you to be able to say I'm at the right place where I can go off on my own, first of all, you need to do the work. You need to put in the hours. You need to be trained. You need to work under a specific company that does what you want to do.
Okay.
So if you're extremely creative, but you're not strong in terms of business side, then maybe you need to work for a few years for a properly structured fashion industry. And if we don't have, quote to quote, a properly structured fashion industry, then maybe you can, I wouldn't necessarily say travel out. The internet is so great today that you can access all sorts of information online. You can probably do online training that could help. And you have to just be level-headed and be realistic with your decision makings. Don't be delusional. Don't have dreams and visions about being a fabulous fashion designer without thinking about the number process.
What's next for Africa?
I think, you know, I'm a well-traveled person. I was recently in China and Asia, and what I was extremely impressed with, one of my agents that I was working with in Asia said to me, why do I need to travel all the way to the US? And for me as an African, I was shocked, you know. So we need to be content with what we have and hold on to it, because our authenticity is in who we are as people, and be content with that. You know, Arise is great. We should just nourish it and grow it within us, appreciate it within us without seeking outside acknowledgement. I think if we do that for a few years, if we can change our mindset and do that for a few years, our industry will grow. Just the way our music industry grew and blew up.
Yeah.
The way our Nollywood
surpassed
industry,
Nollywood, actually.
Yes,
really.
exactly.
Yes.
The way our Nollywood entertainment industry grew. I think fashion industry, we're doing a lot of that. We just need to, you know,
harness it, as well.
Harness it, thank you, that's the word.
Talk to us about your brand real quick. I'd like to hear, you know, the growth. I'd like to hear what you've been doing with your brand.
We started off LULU Lingerie as a properly structured retail company. And our focus is on the Nigerian, you know, women, men, and children. You know, we cater to their growing demand for innerwear, and we've been doing that successfully in the last 3 years. We have 4 locations now in Nigeria. We're about to have our 5th location. And, you know, Nigeria is a country of opportunity, and the system works. But very few percentage of Nigerians have been able to understand the Nigerian system. So the system works, but on the surface, it looks like a mad chaos. And if you allow all the chaos and the, you know, the challenges to eat you up, you will be blind to the opportunity. Lagos State, for instance, has 21 million people, which is amazing. So if you can be level-headed, you can actually
tap into those numbers.
You can actually tap into the numbers. And that's one of the few things that we've done excellently at LULU Lingerie, by saying how can we you know, provide intimate apparel for an everyday Nigerian men, women, and children, but take advantage of what the country has to offer. Because there are 200 million of us.
Okay.
And if we can, in all honesty, make sure every household, every home, every city, every town in Nigeria owns a pair of intimate apparel from our business, then we are in business. Then we can go find investment companies.
Even from outside.
Or even from outside.
Yes.
And say, come, this is our numbers, this is what we can do, because our strength is in our people.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Oluchi, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I absolutely enjoyed this conversation, and it's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Well
interview
done,
there.
Oji.
Yes,
I
I mean,
enjoyed
Really
that.
nice.
I'm glad
yes.
that you guys did.
One thing she said that got my attention and very refreshing is that the system works. The Nigerian
Yes.
system works if you understand the structure.
Yes.
A lot
And
of
the
people
fact that
would
the
disagree
strength-
with that because
No,
it
it
doesn't seem
does
like
work.
the system
She
works.
started this company about 4 years ago, and I worried at first when she started her brand. I was like, how can you do this when you're overseas and you're, you know, Nigeria is a place where, you know, a lot of things happen. I'm sure you guys know the things I'm talking about. But she says, it's fine. I have the numbers. I know how to go about it. And she's been managing her business without any issues. And she just
I
comes
find
in
it-
once in a while to check on her business, and she's fine with it.
It's the attitude, I think,
Yes.
that determines the outcome a lot of the time. I found her whole interview really encouraging, very
Yes.
pro-Nigerian, really enthusiastic about our realities and our prospects. I really enjoyed watching
Well,
that.
I'm so happy for her in terms of what she's been able to achieve as a mother, as a model, supermodel, as a, you know, a great ambassador
Yes.
for the Nigerian cultural sector.
Yes.
And now, you know, she's showing great potential in terms of entrepreneurship. And I think, you know, we should congratulate her on what she's been able to do. But the point that she made about business and creativity, you know, is a very important point. It's one of the themes that came out from the panel discussions at the Arise Fashion Week.
Right.
You know, this need for people who are creative, not to worry too much about the business side if they don't have the competence,
Right.
you know, to seek the support of other persons. And then the point about finance, and which is why your point about attitude is very important.
Yes.
You know, one of the things at the sessions was about finance. How do you, as a business person, how do you access finance
finance.
in the fashion industry and all that? But some people then said that, look, finance is not even the big thing. You can have, you know, Bank of Industry loan, you can have venture capital, you know, and all of that. But that your attitude to work is very critical. And that you also need a skill set. If you do not have it, you know, you get that skill set and you continue to develop yourself.
Right.
And she made a lot of point about mindset, about
Yes.
attitude, which I think, you know, will be useful to younger people who would like to, who see her as a role model
Yes.
and who would like to be like her.
Yes, I think it's also important that she mentioned that our strength is in our numbers. So we are a lot of people, and we should use that to our advantage.
big market,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.